Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I show you how I treat the electric bass and how I EQ it. Let's hear the original bass sound with no processing. It's a very well recorded bass sound. I hear that it's a 5-string bass, so I expect fundamentals down to 30 Hz, since the 5th string is generally tuning as a B. In 440, the B is as low as 30.87 Hz. So we must take that into account when we're dealing with the bass drum. As you can hear, this goes very low, and I just hear that there is an acid resonance around 500 Hz. So I will use as a first insert plugin a parametric EQ. This one is from Eventide. It's called Eq45, and is a replica of the old analog 545 from Uri. I love this plugin because it's very precise and very clean. As you can see, I'm using 1 point of very narrow EQ at 581 and another very narrow EQ at 1.1K, around 4 dB of cut on the 581 and around 4 dB cut around 1.1K. Let's hear what it does. Without. With. As you can hear, there is this nosy sound that gets completely cancelled without altering much the general sound of the bass. My second step, as an SSL guy, I use an SSL plugin, which is a replica of the typical SSL 4000E channel. This one is the E version. Let's show you what I do with this. As the first thing, I limit the low end to 35 Hz and the high end at 3.5 kHz, 3.6. Then I use 5 dB of EQ around 4K in the bell mode and around 3.9 dB of EQ boost on a very large bell at 1.5K. Just using the brown EQ, this replica has two different low-end EQ, the black knob and the brown knob, a little bit more like a Pultec. And I just give 2 dB around 123 Hz in shelf mode. Then I switch the compressor after the EQ, and what I do is some 2-to-1 reduction, release 230 milliseconds, and there is a little bit of high pass filter around 45 Hz, and should reduce no more than 3 dB. Let's see how it sounds before. And after. It's compressing too much. Yeah, here it is. Let's hear again without and with. Just see on the view meters how much more consistent the sound is and how bright the sound becomes with this treatment. with, without. Okay, that's the second step. The third step is using a compressor. This Mac plugin from the DigiDesign, sort of replica of the distressor compressor. This is in opto mode, which is like the LA2A, but with the added distortion in the signal, even distortion, so second harmonic mostly, and a little bit of low cut in the side chain to make the low end a little bit less important into the sensitivity circuit. Let's hear it without and with. Without, with. Okay, next step is something that I do often in the songs. It's not always, but very often when I wanted the bass to have a little bit of energy also on the side. I usually put a little bit of H3000, and I have a plugin here which is Micro Shift from Sound Toys, which does exactly that. I use the second program of the three. The first two are from the H3000. The third one is a replica of the AMS delay, which also has capability to create this kind of effect. A little bit of mixing, around 20%. The focus is a little bit less low end here, working more on the higher end. A little bit more than tuned than the basic one is like that. I like it a little bit more. The delay is just like preset. And let's hear that without. And with. Without, with. As you can hear, the low end becomes a little bit wider and the bass fills the space a little bit more, which is very good when you have the bass drum in the center and you want the bass to be to the side of the bass drum. So it's easier to listen to, even if it's lower in volume. The last step is using a little bit of, sometimes I do, sometimes not. In this case, I like it. A little bit of processing with the transient designer to make the note longer. Acts like two kind of compression. One that put evidence on the attack and one that puts evidence on the sustain of the note. In this case, I'm using a little bit of sustain and reducing a little bit of the attack to make the sound a little bit more defined. Let's see without. With. Again, without. In the beginning of this track, there is a lot more energy in the very, very low end. So this is a 5-string bass. So let's hear the same processing without and with there. With. Without. As you can hear, the low end blossom a little bit when I apply this plugin. It makes the bass rounder and more defined. This is my impression. So now let's finish this video listening the bass without any processing and with all the processing. Without, with. Without, with. You can hear the 30 hertz coming out. Okay, I hope that this video was useful for you to understand how I treat the bass, and please consider that this bass is taken in isolated, but if you have in the mix, you'll find that this treatment is going to help a lot to keep the bass defined and into the mix. See you next time. Please subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Ciao.